Welcome back to the kitchen. You are here with Team Mad Rational in the building with me, Twitch for Life, Arthur Yves, and my man, MrBroadcast in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are talking about things happening in coffee shops and a double Seaweed Deluxe. Go ahead and roll that cut of the week.
I think I'm gonna go with the double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, let me get that double Seaweed Deluxe. 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 Let me get that double Seaweed Deluxe.
Yeah, hey, double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, yeah, hey, double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, hey, double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, yeah, hey, double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, hey, double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, it's gonna cost a lot of bucks. Yeah, you know I don't give a no, I never give a, never will give a fuck. Yeah, if you think you about to get some shit for free, well sorry sir, you out of luck. Yeah, I don't know what you think this is, but this is a galley grub. Yeah, you want something for free? What that supposed to mean to me? Let me spell the shit out for you just like this, a kilo and a B. F-U-C-K out my face, you gon' pay, ain't no way, that's $14.65, or you can have a nice day, sir, okay? Huh? What you mean your wallet in the car? I'm about to do what I'm supposed. Sorry Reggie, but you gotta go. Soon as he go to the car, all of a sudden, damn, look at that, we close.
Deluxe. Deluxe. Let me get that double Seaweed Deluxe.
Yeah, hey, double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, yeah, hey, double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, yeah, this one costs a lot of bucks. Yeah, 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 double Seaweed Deluxe. Double Seaweed Deluxe. Yeah, this one costs a lot of bucks. Yeah, you know I don't give a fuck. Yeah, pull up in a millet truck. Yeah.
Anyway, so like every now and then you're talking to your homeboys, right? And they talk about a YouTube video that they saw that they liked and they link it to you. And that's what happened with this. My homeboy was telling me, we was playing Xbox and he was like, yo, did you see this video? Trey's gonna put it in his DJ set. And I was like, what? He sent it to me, and after I heard it, I looked for it on Spotify and I was like, on the playlist right next to Jaden Smith, right? This song is hilarious and it's incredible at the same time, right? We listen to a lot of music here in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of the music is trash. And some of it's really good. Some of it's good, but it's still trash. I like this song. I've listened to this song probably like 30 or 40 times. I like this song. I'm not mad at Double Seaweed Deluxe at all. Even during the video, I was like, yo, it'd be dope if you can go to like the sushi restaurant and like order a Double Seaweed Deluxe. Right? Somebody out there needs to put this on the menu and give my man TutWeezy some credit. For real. Because this is dope. It's dope sauce. For real talk. Let's break this through. Break this down. You know what I'm saying? So, music wise, I'm not mad at it.
No.
I'm not mad at it at all. I think I'm like the production quality was good, right? The actual music and chord progressions was on point. I don't think you can really ask for more on the track. The lyrics were hilarious,
but they made sense.
They did, and it was in the mumble rap style that we've been listening to for the last couple weeks.
I don't have to for a gimmicky spoof record. It really had very well placed artistry across the board.
Yeah,
from
sure.
Production, from actual lyrics, from the video, the animation. I mean, everything
right.
flowed very well. It was not just put together with just some piece of lip sync over what something existed already just to make it fit.
Right.
There was time and effort put into this product, more than a lot of people who were really trying to make it out there.
Sandy the squirrel twerking.
Yes.
That was a bit much. I'll be honest. That was a little weird. Look at the window behind.
You saw it
behind where Squidward usually sits, and yeah, no, it was a little weird, but I can appreciate it.
But it was like the SpongeBob version of our like rap videos.
Oh, definitely.
Right. You know, you had the one video vixen, Sandy the squirrel. You know, you got your man in the background overdoing the hook.
All we missed was Patrick with the Patrick meme that's out right now.
Oh yeah,
being in there. If that would have been in there, that would have just
done.
Patrick looking at Sandy. Right. That would have killed it. That would have killed it.
That would have been hilarious. Oh my gosh.
I think when you were talking about the how it's in that mumble rap style, I think it's still enjoyable because they're not trying to do so much with it. They're not trying to be, cash and cars and women with this track. It's very much a comedic track.
Sandals, water, and squirrels.
It was. I think that's what made it palatable. Because if they were talking about, like, if this track was instead about like golden crested truffle, it would not be the same.
No, not at all. But it was 14. What is it? $14.95?
$14.95 for a double Seaweed Deluxe.
For a double Seaweed Deluxe.
Yeah.
That's an expensive whatever that is.
Hey man,
that's why I'm gonna sell them.
Ruth Chris got some beat though.
True. But
shout out Ruth Chris.
A1 since day one. Oh man. Nah, but real talk. We needed a little comic relief here on the kitchen this week. So, we pulled the double Seaweed Deluxe out of the bag of tricks. You know what I'm saying? I've been listening to this song all week. Matter of fact, this is one of the first songs that pops up on my phone in like the morning. And I'm like, it makes me smile. It starts my day off right. You know what I'm saying? So, TutWeezy, thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate the smiles, homie. So, I mean, we might as well just vote on this like we do every week, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like we always do every week, we vote on the track, talk about all aspects of it. Trash the trophy. Where you at?
It's not in my playlist. It's not something I'm just gonna go and listen to. But I'll give it a trophy because there's nothing I don't like about it.
Fair enough. MrBroadcast, where you at with it?
It's not in my playlist either, but I'm gonna put it in my playlist. I will be jamming this in the car. I'm gonna have to jam this one in the car. So
yeah,
it's definitely getting a trophy on my end as well.
That's what's up. And of course, I already let you guys know it is in my playlist right next to Jaden Smith Icon, and it is a trophy from me. So trophies all around for Mr. TutWeezy and double Seaweed Deluxe, because it's gonna cost a lot of bucks. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what else is expensive?
These nuts. I'm just playing.
As I was saying.
Sorry. See, this is why they're kicking Negroes out of Starbucks. That's all I'm saying. Yo, so on our adventures through the internet, like everyone else this week, we hopped upon some what looked like nonsense at first. And then after we watched it, it was still nonsense, actually. But so we're talking about the two men that were arrested in Starbucks for doing apparently nothing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So some people will say that they were loitering, and some people will say, well, nobody else gets arrested in Starbucks for loitering. You know, and at the, you know, there's a couple different sides to this that I think need to be discussed. So let's talk about the facts, and then we'll talk about the opinions based on the facts, right? So the fact of the matter is, this particular Starbucks the men were at in Philadelphia was one of the Starbucks in, you know, of course, inside a big city. I don't know if you've ever been to a big city Starbucks. I know a lot of people that are out here in Slidell haven't, right? But if you're in a big city in Starbucks, they have a sign up that says, you know, you have to go to the counter and order a drink in order to get the code to the bathroom, right? Or you can't use the bathroom, right? Starbucks is always a place that you can sit and, you know, be welcomed. But sometimes in the bigger cities, you can't use the bathroom unless you are a customer, right? Which means that you're purchasing something, right? Whether it's a coffee, whether it's a muffin, whatever, right? And then you can get the code to the bathroom. You can use the bathroom at that point because then you're a patron. However, that's not the case at all Starbucks, right? This particular time at the Starbucks, you know, two men were there. I don't know if they used the bathroom or they asked to use the bathroom.
They asked to use the bathroom.
Right. So they asked to use the bathroom. The manager told them, you can't use the bathroom without purchasing anything. If you're not purchasing anything, you need to leave, right? Which I will point out is not Starbucks' policy. You don't have to leave if you're not purchasing anything. That's not a Starbucks policy. The two men refused to leave, right? The manager then told them that they were trespassing because they had been asked to leave. They refused again. The manager then called the police, and the police got there and asked the men to leave. The men said no, right? And so then the police arrested them and, of course, you know, removed them from the premises, right? All while this was all recorded on a cell phone, right? Now, you know, some people will say, "Oh, the police were wrong." Well, no, not necessarily. You know, the opinion. Those are all the facts. The opinions here or is where the fault lies. You know what I mean? We have a lot of people out here that are blaming Starbucks, the company. Some people are blaming the manager. Some people are blaming the police. I think at the end of the day, what we have here is a situation that it should have never transpired over a bathroom.
Yeah.
I forgot to add the two men were waiting for someone else to arrive that was going to buy coffee, by the way. That person was buying coffee because it was a business meeting. So the person that was coming was actually going to purchase something. So that's something I forgot to add in. But like, where are your thoughts on that?
I think it's kind of a nuanced conversation. From the beginning, you know, the bathroom thing aside, you know, the manager shouldn't have asked the guys to leave. I mean, unless they were taking up space in the restaurant, but at least the video in question, it didn't seem to be the case. They were just two guys hanging out back in the corner of the store. So the manager, I think the aggressor in this case, the antagonist, if you will, would be the manager of that Starbucks.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
If you are asked to leave a store, especially, and I don't know how like the specifics of that location are, but most of the Starbucks that I'm familiar with are private properties. And so if you're asked to leave a store, regardless of where it is, what it is, like what happened, whatever, leave the store. That's just how private property works. That being said, they shouldn't have been asked to leave the store. So that's where I'm on both ends. Like, I mean, it's not their fault for getting arrested. However, if you're asked to leave a store, regardless of like the reason behind it, leave the store. That's,
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. If you know a situation is unjust, right? If you know like that you know you're in the right there, and there's a peaceful conversation to be had behind like, oh, you know what, you guys need to leave. Like, well, no, you know, no, we don't.
But that's where the conversation wasn't had. Like they didn't say why are we being asked to leave the store. I mean, again, I don't know if this was or was not the case.
Right.
But they just refused to leave the store. Like that's if you're asking them why are you asking me to leave the store? At that point, it's an injustice. It's a social justice issue, and at that point, you can take that up with Starbucks as it is.
Well, all throughout we're talking about this, I have on purpose neglected to say that the two men were black, because I don't want that to be the basis of the conversation to be a racial issue, even though some people will force it to be, right? This is a situation that happened to two men that happened to be black, not to two men because they were black. And I think that is the narrative that a lot of people are pushing right now, is that, this happened because they were black. Well, no, it happened and they happened to be black. We've all worked for that manager that overreacted. You know what I'm saying?
It very well could have been a racially driven issue too. As we were saying, the manager really had no reason that we know of to ask those men to leave the store.
But I've worked for that guy before. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that manager in particular, but like a manager that overreacts at a situation because they're having a bad day, a bad week. You know what I'm saying? Or they're enforcing the rules and being hypersensitive about, the bending of the rules simply because things in their personal life may not be right. Right. And this is the only place they have control, and they, assert that control over everything in the environment that they have control over in order to feel like they have control over something in their life. Right. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's the case or not, I've seen that happen before, where I've seen situations that were seemingly very simple and could be handled very simple, blow up to, something, crazy, I do believe that the fact that these two gentlemen happen to be black pushed it to a whole nother level, right? And this is the wrong time for that, right? This is it just simply is, you know what I mean? And if you're going to be the manager of a location, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of things that you are solely like solely responsible for, right? You know what I mean? You're responsible for your people and what they do, of course, right? But then that all kind of trickles down. But the things that don't trickle down, right, is you're responsible for the environment, and you're responsible for understanding the community that you're in, right? And being a positive part of that community. That doesn't trickle down. That is your responsibility, right? To make sure that the vibe inside of your store, the morale is safe, it's secure, right? And it's void of bias, all bias.
And I'm glad you made that point, because that adds to something. The next part of that is from the company as a whole standpoint, and I know something you got some thoughts on and opinions, and I'm gonna give you a chance to speak on it as well. But that's the reason that Starbucks is closing all the stores to do this training, because a lot of folks have their opinions about, I don't understand that was an isolated incident. What the issue is, it was an isolated incident in this one case, because, as I say from Washington Post statement, this store's guidelines were different from other store guidelines.
Correct.
On how they deal with unpaying customers.
Correct.
So now you're dealing with, when you say individual stores, that isn't a company-wide thing, because you can't just say an isolated incident when you have 8,000 stores. All my stores need to have the same understanding. So I have to close all my stores. Right. So we have, it's like we talk about one band, one sound.
One band, one sound. One band, one sound.
Right.
Right. It all needs to be in line together.
Right.
Everything, we should all have the same voice. Outside of understanding my demographic and my location, and the people who live in that community, as a brand, I need to have the same voice as I walk into that community. And then there's certain parts of that voice that I will tailor to fit that community, but there's an underlining voice that we all walk in as a whole and we follow. Right. That doesn't change from one Starbucks to another.
Right. Correct.
And that's where the issue is.
Right.
Is that one store, which could be another 400 stores we don't even know about. We talk 8,000 stores. So how many other stores have a similar policy that we don't know about?
Correct.
And that's why they have to do what they're doing. But I know you have some thoughts on that as well.
Well, yeah, for sure. So, in some of the things, I had a lot of conversations, throughout the week with people and, what they believe and what they see. And some people like, oh, this is just politics. They're closing the stores for politics. Well, first off, let me explain to you, like, them closing the stores for one day is going to cost them over $20 million, right? And that's lowballing the number, right, of how much they sell per day per store. And that's when I came up with that, it's just a wild number, based on, selling a set amount of coffee, to people per day, on an average, price per cup. And it's not including the cost of, paying the employees for that day, and probably with the cost of the program, the training that they're gonna have to send them to, like putting together that program, especially that quickly, it costs money, right? So that's a huge loss to the company. One day out of the year, that's a huge loss. They're gonna hit the company's net profits really hard, right? For it to be a political statement. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the other question I have to those people who believe, well, that's just a political statement, what else do you want them to do, right? So when this all transpired, right, the CEO of the company, who's a white guy, by the way, he personally handled the damage control for this incident, right? He didn't send his number two, the COO, who is a black lady, right? He didn't send the black lady to handle the black problem. He was like, no, this is not what my company is. This is not the brand that I see. This is not the vision. Let me handle this, right? Let me let you guys know I take this seriously, and I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna apologize personally. He personally goes to these two gentlemen and apologizes for what took place inside of one of his stores, right? Then he's gonna close all 8,000, I think it's more than 8,000 stores in the U.S. for a day, so all the employees can get the same training at the same time, right? To make sure nothing is missed, right? Then you look at all that, and you also look at a company. This is a company that has enough street cred that the community needs to chill, right? This is a company that has stood by a strict set of morals through all of the muckery in the politics, right? This is a company that said, yes, we do believe that Black Lives Matter. This is a company that says, no, we don't agree with Trump. This is a company that says, no, we don't support the war, right? Because of the morals and values that the company has, right? So you can't judge what the entire company sees based on the actions of one manager that overreacts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And if we want to be taken seriously as a community, right, we have to not cry wolf on certain incidents, right? Mm-hmm. When an incident just happens to involve black people, we have got to be like, you know what? That just happened to involve black people. Let's get justice for this incident, but let's not fuel the racial fire, mm-hmm. right? However, when there is an incident that involves the oppression of black people, right, that's when we rise up against the oppression of black people, and that's when they'll listen, because we're not crying wolf every time a black person is just involved in anything. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You got to know the difference. As a community of people, we have to know the difference. Mm-hmm. We can't be out here like Conspiracy Brother and Undercover Brother. You know what I mean? Thinking everything's all against us. You know what I mean? Whether it is or isn't. Mm-hmm. Right? You can't sound crazy, because then they just call you crazy. And when they call you crazy, that just means they disregard you. Mm-hmm. Right? They throw your opinion away like a piece of trash, right? Because you can just say, he's crazy. They're crazy. Right? That's just the way they see things. No, they have to know that everything is on purpose. Mm-hmm. Right? And when I say they, I'm talking about the world as a global stage. Right? If we want to be respected, we got to ask ourselves, who do we want to be? Who do we see ourselves as? Just like you do personally in your personal life, by yourself, you have to do the same thing in a group. Who do we want to be? Just like you have to ask, who do I want to be? Right? So anyway, that's my hip hop soapbox for the night.
Nice. I'm going to give you that one.
Man,
and I agree with you. I think part of it is we're at a point where there's oversaturation of high level reaction, where some things need to be high level reaction, some things need to be a steady planned reaction, and some things need to be proactive before they become a situation to have to react to. And I think where we are as a society is we need to figure out the difference between the three and be very conscious and very mindful of how we communicate with each other, the difference in the three. Right. Because I think the issue is also the delivery of the reaction.
Right.
And because of that, we have folks who are on board because of the delivery and not understanding the purpose and the meaning behind the reaction.
Right.
So they're quick to react at a high level on something that needs to be a steady planned reaction because they don't know what they're reacting to because it was not communicated to them well enough for them to understand it. And so everything for them is always up here. Right. When he's like, no, listen, pause for a minute. You know, some things take time. We need to discuss. There's debates that can go with this compared to just jumping out up at this part with this.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so
it's like we over here talking about Starbucks, right? But what about Flint, Michigan? You know what I mean? That type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
We're talking about Starbucks, but you know, what about people, you know, dying every day, being, you know, falsely accused of you know, different things, whether by the police or by each other. You know what I'm saying? We need to bring peace to our neighborhoods and peace to our communities, and let's not overreact.
So that's kind of my mindset on this whole issue was that this may very well be a racially driven issue. However, it might be, if it is a racially driven issue, I mean, implicit bias does exist. It is a issue on a small term thing, on a small stage, as both of you were just saying. That's where the change happens. Ultimately, that's where change happens. Change doesn't happen when you're attacking an entire company. Change doesn't happen when you attack 8,000 times however many employees underneath that banner. When you're attacking all of them as a whole, you're not creating change. You create change on each individual happenstance that conversation is had. Whether this is a racial issue or not is something that we can't know without being in that situation. Whether it's the responsibility of the CEO and the company as a whole to take care of it, it absolutely is, because that's how a corporation works.
Right.
Now, the reaction of one person does not reflect that of the entire company. So that's, I think, where my view of this whole situation centers on, is the idea that we've got people now boycotting and attacking Starbucks as a whole, whether on Twitter or the social medias or things of that nature. That's where you can't have somebody on your team if you're not on their team, if you're not open to being on their team. So to your point, like where people are being attacked in suburban America and urban America and rural America, I mean, the biggest change in this world, in this country, will happen on the small scale, not on the big scale, and not on Twitter.
And some of y'all people out there that's talking about y'all boycotting Starbucks, stop lying. You ain't drink Starbucks to begin with. Right? If you don't know if you don't have like the veteran Starbucks order when you walk up to the counter, you ain't boycotting nothing, right? They don't need your money. When I walk up to the counter, I want a venti white chocolate mocha with vanilla powder and almond milk, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's That's that veteran Starbucks order, right? Some of y'all go in there and like, I think I want coffee. Well, word. But you gonna boycott. You buy Starbucks once a year. But you boycotting? That's not how the boycott works. You got to be relevant to boycott. Stop it. Tired of y'all. Yo, and that's a wrap on this week's Conversation in the Kitchen. Remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the video, and make sure to hit that little bell so when we ping, you ding. And don't neglect to get your coffee at Starbucks. Hold the handcuffs. We out.
Take us there.
Want me to take you on a magic coffee ride? That was creepy as fuck. I hope that's on there. That's creepy as shit. Oh.